This one's actually been on my list for a while, and I was actually suggested this a couple of days ago under a video, and it reminded me to react to it. But today we're going to be taking a look at, they beat up our goalkeeper. Derby Days Hamburg, HSV versus St. Pauli. Another Copa90 masterclass. I'm very excited for this. You can never go wrong with Copa90 documentaries. They always deliver with absolutely phenomenal quality. So let's get into it, and we'll talk about some other stuff at the end of this video in relation to the channel, Patreon, and what's going to happen next year. So let's go.
Big rebellious city. Besides some big and rebellious clubs who meet very rarely, but when they do, don't get along.
I love when this happens, when clubs that very rarely meet together go crazy.
Hamburg, the first ever in the second division.
I love how crazy this shit gets, bro. We got the biker jackets out. Okay. I've heard of Hamburg too. I don't know anything about it.
Sitting on the Elbe River in northern Germany, Hamburg is quite simply a beast of a city.
It's the most international city, it's the most outward-looking city, and at the same time, a very powerful city.
Noise flies high.
I like the music here.
Munich is a very clean and conservative city. Here's much more international people running around.
Hamburg is gritty, Hamburg is posh, it's got a bit of everything. It can swallow you whole. It can be a very nice town too.
Situated on the country's biggest port, it's at the epicenter of Germany's trade and commerce.
Hamburg and its ports are indivisible.
The part Hamburg plays in import-export. Everything coming by ship, it is quite important.
It has been a part of the city for all over the centuries. We have connections to all over the world, ships coming in,
Costco.
And people coming in.
Noise flies high.
Bro, these damn cities and football clubs.
Mix of architecture. It's at the forefront of the country's thriving cultural scene.
No one had to see it.
Hamburg to me is the most beautiful city of Germany. It's a real blend of your typical grittiness that you get with a port city, but at the same time some really beautiful buildings from the time of unification Germany.
You have some beautiful old architecture, you have some brutalist architecture.
You have the Ulster, you have the North Sea.
It's a lot of green and a lot of water. We have more bridges than Venice.
In terms of culture,
Really?
Hamburg was very much at the forefront.
And with its history steeped in music, it's a place where life is lived to a constant beat, whatever your rhythm.
Music has always been a huge part in Hamburg. I mean, just think about the Beatles.
The Beatles went there to have their big career breakthrough.
Because there's a rave scene, hip-hop scene, a proper punk rock and rock and roll scene. Theater scene, musical scene is huge.
With the Red Light District, with the music, with the punk scene, fashion and undergrounds, a natural kind of rallying point for people for sort of kind of an alternative culture.
But to fully understand the
I need
city,
to
you need to
visit.
grasp the spirit of the people who have adopted an open-minded, liberal, and most importantly, rebellious attitude to the causes closest to their heart.
Hamburg was always sort of the most rebellious, the most free-spirited, the most open of cities.
Like the people here, they don't really like to get told what they should do. That is, most people do what they believe they should do.
I think, again, it has to do something with the nature of being a port city where you always have that mix of different ideas.
I respect this.
Hamburg ist eine der Städte, wo als erstes Steine fliegen, wenn etwas nicht stimmt.
Or rocks fly, something isn't
G20
right.
protests. I mean, this is a very left-wing area, and to put a summit like that in the midst of this area is an affront.
Yeah.
It's a provocation to all the people that live here. You really triggered something right now. You notice, right?
Yo, we can learn something over here from Europeans and the way that you guys protest, especially you French people. I know we're talking about Germany right now, but I love the way that Europeans protest, bro. When y'all do not like something, you psychopaths, I mean that in the positive way, you guys let it be known, and I love that so much.
There is just kind of a rebellious nature, rebellious spirit in Hamburg.
And when you combine these four elements of industry, music, culture, and rebelliousness, you get one hell of a derby, especially when it hasn't been played in 7 years.
Ganz ehrlich, ich sag dir ohne Spaß, dieses Wochenende Sonntag, es wird der Tag der Tage sein.
It'll be the day of days.
Now, a colossal city like Hamburg needs a club of colossal status to represent it. And if you ask many around here where you find such a club, well, they'll point northwest and to the tricolored diamond.
Die Raute. it is like the diamond. Everybody recognizes it and everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows the club that stands behind there.
Hamburger SV are one of the bona fide superpowers of German football.
With roots tracing all the way back to 1887, HSV or HSV, short for Hamburger Sportverein, which basically means Hamburger Sports Club, is one of the most storied, most important, most recognized clubs in the German game.
On a similar level with Bayern, with Borussia Mönchengladbach when it comes to its historic position.
Nicknamed Die Dino, which means the dinosaur, in reference to their historical role in German football, HSV have competed and conquered not just the biggest titles in this country, but all of Europe.
7 times German champion.
3 German Cups.
We won the European Cup of Cup winners in 1977.
And they won the European Cup in 1983.
Now HSV's epic status was solidified by the team of the late 70s to late 80s, who led Germany and the continent in football by the way they played.
36 matches without losing.
And they played some beautiful stuff as well. Hamburg had emerged as the new team to challenge and for a few years break Bayern's dominance.
Their signings.
That early 1980s team had absolute superstars.
Felix Magath played for Hamburg and Kevin Keegan.
The fact that Keegan made that move at the height of his powers showed you just how much money was already there. Certainly with Hamburg, they could basically pay more money than Liverpool.
Their management.
Ernst Happel is...
He was like the Pep Guardiola of that time.
Even their kid.
Hitachi was the first international brand that had a sponsorship in the Bundesliga, and Hamburg was the club they chose because Hamburg was the best club and the biggest club in Germany.
Then there's their fan base, one of the biggest, best, and most ferociously active and loyal supporter groups in the country.
Well, they're out there for a practice session.
When we talk about
HSV,
the most important thing,
the fan base is absolutely enormous.
the most positive thing,
They're amazing, so they have really amazing supporters.
it's fans and the loyalty to the club.
The home stadium is Volksparkstadion,
Really, really loud,
57,000.
really, really passionate.
Every game was sold out.
There are only few teams in Germany with a loyal fan base as we have.
When they play away, they have 5,000 or 6,000 people following them everywhere.
But perhaps more important than all of that was a valiant title that HSV and only HSV held as the sole founding Bundesliga member to have never spent time in the second division.
Unmovable object in the first division, never to be relegated, the only team to be there from the very outset.
Mönchengladbach, Borussia Dortmund, even Bayern Munich had spent some time in the Bundesliga too, but not the Red Shorts, who had only ever been in the first division.
That's
niemals zweite
crazy.
Liga. It didn't mean never second division.
This exclusive distinction was celebrated with their Stadion Uhr, a digital clock that hung prominently in their home ground of the Volksparkstadion, which ticked up every second of their time since the beginning of the Bundesliga on the 24th of August, 1963.
Everyone believed the clock will never stop.
In fact, so significant was this title that a mini digital version of the clock had been mounted on the team bus for when the team went away.
It was a kind of motivation.
Now, whilst they always stayed up and the support always was strong, from the late 80s, there was never much success at HSV.
I gotta ask, is it still like that? Like, have they still remained in the first division all these years later? Because this is a 7-year-old video of going on 8 years. Have they stayed in the first division since this video was posted? Let me know. I'd be curious. That's so cool, dude.
Motivation.
That's insane.
Now, whilst they always stayed up and the support always was strong, from the late 80s, there was never much success at HSV until the late 2000s when they made 2 Europa League semi-finals in a row, but bowed out both times.
From that moment,
I really can't.
it was a big disaster.
From then on, the fortunes of HSV seriously turned, and the status of this club went from proudly colossal to something embarrassingly chaotic.
I think it's important to understand that this was not just a team doing badly. But with Hamburg, they had gone from being really one of the best clubs in Germany to being a regular laughingstock.
On the pitch, the stats spoke for themselves.
The worst decade in the history of the club.
Fewest points in the calendar year in 2015, second worst goal difference in 2014.
You can't describe it with words.
Conceded a league high record 48 goals from open play. The keeper said, I feel sorry for the fans who have to pay for this shit.
It's not just that they had a bad season or 1 or 2 bad seasons, it's that they were continually making mistakes on the pitch.
And then, of course, there was the Bayern treatment.
I mean, there weren't even games. There was sort of kind of executions more.
36 goals in 6 games, 42 goals in 7 games, 50 goals in 8 games.
It was quite painful, I think, at times to watch.
8-0, 8-0, 9-2. Is it 9-0 or 9-2?
I think both.
6-1, 5-0.
8-0.
With results like that,
After 8-0, they had to hire a psychologist to help the players deal with the defeat.
your defense probably needs some psychological help.
53 on aggregate.
5-0, 6-0, doesn't matter.
It brought into contrast just how far they had gone from being Bayern's equals and betters to being a team no longer really taken seriously.
But off the pitch, it was even worse with the coaching merry-go-round. How many managers did you guys have in the last 10 years?
I can't count them. I don't know. More than 10 or more than 15 managers.
That is something for who wants to be a millionaire.
In one season, I think they changed it, 3 managers, well, or 4. I don't know.
Because there were some only for 2 weeks.
The players fighting with fans. Van der Vaart and the players got attacked in the car park with eggs, ladders.
Even one player who cried after that.
The players fighting with players. You had Ivo Ilisevic and Michael Gregoric fighting each other in training. The management fighting with security. Board member Hans-Ulrich Kluwer got in a fight with a security guard who didn't believe he was a board member and demanded ID, and he refused to show it. So he tried to punch the security guard. And then, of course, who could forget Backpack Gate? Backpack Gate?
That's the best one.
The backpack gate, like you call it, is that stupid that I refuse to believe everything of it.
Peter Knabel was a sport director, I think, at the time, lost his rucksack.
Go into a park, sit on a bench, lose his backpack.
The rucksack was full of secret documents, contracts, and all this kind of stuff, so it was a kind of a treasure trove.
And somebody else finds it, and instead of going to the police, she phones the number you get when you Google HSV, and you get into the service center. And some guy in the service center said, "Who are you?" She said, I've got a bag full of papers saying HSV on it, and then it looks like contracts. And of course, the guy in the service center says, "Yeah, whatever you want," and finished it.
And hung up.
Yeah.
He didn't believe her.
No. The next step she's doing, instead of phoning the police saying, "Hello, I found somebody else's backpack," she phones the newspaper saying, "Hello, I've got an interesting backpack for you."
The newspapers, of course, were given a copy, and it was just kind of symptomatic of Hamburg just being so gaff-prone.
HSV became famous for having a scandal every fortnight, and the Hamburg media just lapped it up.
The Hamburg media, to me, is the worst.
Skandalnudel der Liga. Hamburg were kind of just a headline-generating machine being in the news for all the wrong reasons.
So no matter how bad, like seriously bad,
I love the media.
HSV somehow always managed to avoid relegation.
As I think I once wrote, so bad they can't even go down.
In the 2012 season, it was by a measly 5 points.
It was a bad season, but it's not really shit.
The 2014 season, it took a playoff.
That was really shit, yeah.
In the 2015 season, it took another playoff.
It was one of the baddest season in club's history.
In the 2017 season, they survived by a point.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, that was horrible.
They'd go months without winning a game. They lost to a 4th division team in the cup. But no matter how dire the situation got, they somehow always managed to retain their Bundesliga status.
There was this belief that simply because of our history and of our background, we will not go down.
Nothing summed this up more than the 2015 season, where HSV once again ended up 3rd bottom, meaning they had to go into a 2-legged playoff to survive in the 1st division.
There were water cannons and hundreds of policemen and stewards.
Why?
Because they expected when Hamburg goes down for the very first time, people could go mad.
A lot of people were prepared on the roofs with flares and everything.
That was so lucky, and the ref gave them
the free kick in the very last minute to keep us in the league.
Outside the box, Marcelo Diaz lined up.
I just prayed, please let them go down this time. They earned it so bad.
He put it top beams.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and then this goal. I went home directly by bicycle.
so unfair that they still stayed up.
At that moment, I thought, okay, it's true. They can never be relegated to second.
I cried tears because they didn't get down in the 2nd division.
I think you somehow believe that, however bad it will get, they will somehow find a way of staying up.
Until the 2017-2018 season.
After 10 games, I think it was clear that Hamburg has no chance to stay in the Bundesliga.
Once again, it was another horrid season, and once again, HSV spent most of the time in the relegation zone.
The fans had the banner in the stadium and it said, before the clock stops, we will chase you through the city.
But this was HSV, and they won 3 out of 4 going into the last game. And if they had stayed up this time, it would have been the greatest ever survival campaign in the history of the Bundesliga.
I thought they will be saved at the end again. Yeah.
Going into the final
they
game,
lose.
they had to beat visitors Mönchengladbach, and already relegated Cologne had to beat Wolfsburg.
Huge support, you know, in the streets. The bus was being welcomed.
When you survived 2014, when you survived 2015, and when you survived 2017.
Hundreds and thousands of people waving flags.
And everyone really got behind the team.
HSV did their part, taking the lead 2-1.
Everyone believed that they have still a chance.
But with Wolfsburg ahead 3-1, the Volksparkstadion realized the impossible might just be possible.
Das Pfeifen im Walde, the whistling in the woods when you're afraid of something.
He was throwing smoke bombs and threatening players, making out as if this was some kind of unforgivable disgrace. This is just a few ultras within the ultras.
But there was also a special thing when the supporters knew that it is over, the whole stadium started to sing.
It was over in that moment. They were going down, but I think it had a kind of cathartic effect, and they were, for once, relegated.
And then, to add insult to injury, the travelling fans from Mönchengladbach released their own tifo in the away end. It was a study in all, just like HSV's, but this one counted down. From the hour, then the minutes, then the seconds, HSV had left in the Bundesliga before they joined every other team at experiencing the second division.
We are the last dinosaur who survived, and at the end, we've been shot dead. That's it.
And it's down here in the second division that HSV will meet the other side of the city, smack bang in the middle of town, wherever you see the skull and crossbones.
Why St. Pauli? Really? What a question. Hey, St. Pauli is like, oh my God.
They stand for something that really is quite bigger than football.
You've no more questions, cause we are the answer. It's St. Pauli.
This is
It's
the
probably fair
rebellious
to say
faction.
there is no second division club more respected, more revered, more well known than that of FC St. Pauli.
We are famous. We are the street.
You know, they're very political, left wing.
Who's about it? We are St. Pauli.
More than a club, FC Barcelona may say it, but these guys live it.
We are not just a football club.
You have to go there to understand just how different the spirit is compared to a normal football club.
They're an identity club. We are a representative of a certain community, of certain politics.
Noise flies high.
I mean, I
To best
respect
understand
it.
this club is to
Seriously.
not focus on the pitch, but off it towards their stands, their fan clubs, and most importantly, their neighborhood.
St. Pauli's not about the sport. It's not only the sport. It's the culture, it's the vibe, it's like everything combined.
You see, St. Pauli isn't just the name of a club, it's also the name of what is Hamburg and Germany's most alternative neighborhood. A thriving sanctuary for leftist intellectuals, artists and the working class, and home to the famous, or some might say infamous, Reeperbahn.
The Reeperbahn is the red light
Reeperbahn.
district of Hamburg, but it is kind of a mythological place in German popular culture that stands
Mythological?
for liberalism and being sinful and anti-capitalist, squatting, punk as well, and kind of doing all the things you wouldn't do at home.
So it's literally just the
Now, with
rebellious
the 80s comes the
district.
rise of punk culture, meaning the St. Pauli district is thriving more than ever. And the people here start flocking to the local stadium in the area, the Millantor, home to then 5th Division's FC St. Pauli.
Squatters, a lot of people from the alternative music scene, political scene. So, oh, there's a football club around the corner. Let's go there for a Sunday afternoon beer. And then it started.
This new fan base bring alternative philosophies,
We don't want any fascist symbols around.
a rebellious and progressive attitudes,
We want cheaper tickets for unemployed people. We want this, we want that.
and an emblem that would become the defining symbol of the club still today.
Buse, Dogma Buse, punk rock guy, squatter, bought a pirate flag there before going to a match. And the story goes that that's the start of it all.
So, how rebellious are we really talking? I actually would love to see this in person. I'm not gonna lie to you. See this entire district, this red light district. I'll say once I say, yeah, man, you guys, you Europeans, man, you guys know how to do some protesting or stand up for something that you believe in. It's so funny to watch, and not in an insulting way, but in like a It's just interesting. I don't know. The way you guys carry yourselves and handle certain situations, your beliefs and whatnot, it's very respectable.
And then crowds, once barely reaching the thousands, double, then triple. And then by the 90s, this Millantor Stadium is heaving week in, week out with a fan base that has turned the club into a beacon of the moral principles of the neighborhood and city.
We organize information and money, you know, for therapists, for people who have suffered mental health problems. When there was a refugee so-called crisis in Hamburg, we helped the refugees quite a bit.
I think it's almost natural that they would discover the club, and the club would then become almost a vehicle for all these ideas.
A message of anti-racism, a message of anti-discrimination and other things.
And the St. Pauli movement has only grown bigger to today.
Now,
Wait, I gotta ask you another question too. So the skull and crossbones aren't the technical like crest or visual for the like club, right? Well, like what was the club's original crest? Is it just the skull and crossbones now? Like did the fans fully take that part over, like just redesign everything from the ground up in a way? Maybe they'll show it throughout the rest of this video though.
To today.
nowadays, it's always sold out with 30,000.
St. Pauli still comfortably in the
30,000.
second division. And whilst for HSV fans, that might be their idea of hell, well, for St. Pauli fans, for the most part, they don't really mind.
It's for them, it's the hell. For us, it's home. It's a home.
In fact, in the last decade and a half, St. Pauli have only played in the first division once, the 2010-2011 season, where things didn't really go that well.
I think it was like 12 games that we went without a win.
Finishing dead bottom, they were relegated here at home to an 8-1 loss. However, if you speak to St. Pauli fans about that season,
Definitely was that derby victory, of course.
People just still wear t-shirts with 1-0 from the game back then.
but whilst on the pitch offered notable results, it's what happened off the pitch that was really interesting.
The night before the derby got cancelled
Because of the rain.
because of the heavy rain, yeah. But that was when already everybody was on Reeperbahn.
So what you have to know about Reeperbahn, so it's divided. One part is the part of the Hamburg fans, and another part is for the St. Pauli fans.
Hamburg supporters tried to get into the St. Pauli area.
There were some incidents in the streets.
There was running battles and the police. What's to do? Lively. Very lively.
The St. Pauli goalkeeper was attacked.
Oh, for fuck's sake, that idiot.
Wait, they showed a picture of him. Oh man. You guys are insane. I love it so
Was
much.
attacked.
Oh, for fuck's sake, that idiot.
That idiot.
The attacker or the goalkeeper?
No, the goalkeeper, the guy who kicked the Hamburg flag after they won.
The thing is, the division shown between these two
That was
teams
a
last time
stupid
they
decision.
met was about as tense as anything you see in derby football.
There are guys who don't drink Astra because Astra is related to St. Pauli, but St. Pauli supporters won't drink Holsten.
But for two teams who only meet, what, twice a decade and only had a rivalry since the 80s, it really begs the question, where does this hatred come from?
Yeah, where'd it come from?
Did
What
they always
started
hate
it?
each other, these two clubs?
No. No, in the beginning of the early 80s, when Hamburg played on Saturday and St. Pauli played on Sunday, that a lot of Hamburg supporters came to their stadium to support their team on Sunday afternoon.
How 30 years later were you then beating up each other's goalkeepers, and where did this come from?
It starts with when St. Pauli brought in the politics.
Football has never been that political at Hamburg.
You're not a right-wing club, so what does it matter?
Yeah, exactly. But they told everybody we are a right-wing club.
They have had problems with right-wing groups.
At the beginning of the 80s, inside the HSV stadium, there was a fairly prominent right-wing faction.
Of course, there were big problems, but they were not just at Hamburg's ground. It was everywhere in Germany.
We are not right, we are not left, we are in the middle, and so St. Pauli is too much on the left wing.
We have a political view on most of the things around football.
I already don't get why you have to support St. Pauli when you're against fascism.
Because I want to go to football without fascist bastards next to me.
To be against fascism is what normal people are. And you don't need a football club to express that.
I didn't choose, but even if I had to choose, I would choose St. Pauli because also with the political view, it's very important for me.
Football to me is fighting for titles and winning titles.
Do you think something annoys HSV as well is that St. Pauli have become kind of this world-famous liberal club? And
I'm sorry, I'm going to back that up a smidgen here. I like hearing his perspective on it because it kind of goes to show that this isn't as big of a religion for every single person involved in the world of football. You know, we've seen a lot of people say how much this means to them on a spiritual or a political level, like we've just seen with St. Pauli. It's always cool to hear these different perspectives on the game, you know, people's thoughts around them, the energy around it. It's so cool to hear these different perspectives, even if like you don't agree with them or you disagree with them or whatever. It's cool to just see different perspectives. Like just so I can like kind of see like where the rest of the world sits in a way with football, you know?
Winning titles.
Do you think something annoys HSV as well is that St. Pauli have become kind of this world famous liberal club and have taken over the kind of the hearts and minds of global football fans instead of HSV, who have proudly got their own rich history?
Yeah, I think it's probably right to say that Hamburg SV as a club, and certainly as far as the supporters are concerned, are a little bit annoyed.
All you think St. Pauli is to me just a cliche.
They have fan shops everywhere in the city, so they are not as different as you think they are.
There are not many clubs in the world who run 2 club shops within a distance of less than a kilometer. What do you call that? That is making money.
Well, if you look at what the club does with the money that he earns and where the money goes to, you take a look at St. Pauli merchandise and you have a political statement.
Right, night before the derby. It is so palpable, the rivalry on every block, you can feel it. We've never experienced anything like this. I mean, tonight the plan was to film with fans and ask them about the derby, but we've been told by police and supporters alike that's not happening. Not in the bars, not even on the streets. It's the entire Reeperbahn and St. Pauli district has been shut down and cameras completely off limits, to the point where even last night we were just eating dinner in a restaurant and we were pulled out, interrogated and told, look, you cannot film here, you need to leave. We respect that, of course, but it's just crazy to think that it's been like this all week. In fact, it's been like this since the start of the season in August, when supposedly the HSV fans basically shut down a St. Pauli music gig that was going on in the HSV area. Then the HSV fans released a banner at one of their first second division games. It said, satisfy our last 100 versus 100. St. Pauli didn't respond, so HSV made another banner the next game, happy hour, 50 versus 100. St. Pauli fans finally did respond to that, instead saying 1,000 beers and 1,000 joints. That will satisfy our lust. St. Pauli also had another response when they ambushed some HSV supporters making the choreography for the derby and put a couple of our HSV fans in hospital. Then there's everything else, the effigies that HSV fans made, the purge stickers that have been put around the train stations with the derby date. And then of course there's the marches as the supporters have tried to get into each other's neighbourhoods, of which supposedly only the police stopped mass trouble happening. And you know, we do get it. It's 7 years in the making with this kind of tension, this kind of rivalry. It's what makes derbies great, but where's the line? It begs the question.
Yeah.
When these fixtures have this much of an effect on a city, what's too far? And even us, the media, what role do we play? In my time here in Hamburg, I've found myself questioning at what point are we celebrating and documenting the effects these fixtures have on the city? And at what point are we perhaps stoking the tensions and fanning the flames for the really more negative sides of all of this? And even the role of the police. I mean, are they the ones who have stopped these events getting worse, or is their mass presence perhaps creating more tension? We don't want to sensationalize, we don't want to say things are happening when they're not, but we just don't know because basically everything's on lockdown.
Wait, do you guys think there's a limit? Like, do you guys think that this kind of derby goes a little too hard sometimes? Because I'm going to assume, I guess, not everybody wants to get wrapped up in a political situation. Now, most of the world is political. Football itself is political in many ways. But I'm going to assume in the case of like the HSV fans or something, they don't really want to get wrapped up in these left versus right versus centralist political discussions and whatnot. And to be fair, I think that's completely reasonable. Not everybody wants to get caught up in a political situation. I don't all the time. I know a lot of people that don't all the time. It's good to be aware of what's happening in the world, but it could get exhausting. Sometimes you just want to enjoy football, I guess. I could see both sides in different prospects. Now, beating people up and putting them in hospitals over this, I think, is insane, but that's just kind of the nature of these things with these derbies, man. We've seen it time and time again in multiple videos, other derbies from Copa90. That's just the way it goes, I guess. It's honestly kind of crazy. That's just how it goes.
And you just hope that in a city known for combusting when they're angry, things at least stay a little bit calm, and the football and the celebrations, the best of these fans can come out.
And it's time for the derby day.
Well, good morning, Hamburg. I think every policeman in not just the city, but maybe Germany is here today. The sun's out, the streets are empty. That might be because it's Sunday and it's a church or whatever, but I think there's a different reason going on. Everyone is occupied with the match. We've been told some PauliR marching in big numbers to the train station, then station to the stadium, then another march, and there's HSV. They're coming down here, and if you see the police presence, you won't believe it.
Yeesh.
I cannot stress how many police and authorities are here. Cop cars, in undercover cars, with dogs on bikes, in water trucks. Everywhere you look, there is seas of them, seas of them.
It is so, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep pausing near the end. It is so interesting seeing other countries' police forces, knowing how things are kind of done over here in the US. Every single police force over here is armed with some kind of weapon, a gun. Some have rifles, some have rubber bullet launchers, like you name it, we got it over here, man. It's one of the reasons why I think protesting over here in the US can be such a dangerous game. You never know who in the crowd have weapons. I know in a lot of European countries, most European countries, you can't have guns. And if you try to get them, you have to have like a very unique permit to get them. In the US, you could buy a gun for like a pack of Skittles or something over here. It's crazy, right? But that's the reason why protesting here is such a scary thing for a lot of people. You never know who's going to do something stupid and rogue that will actually get you shot. I mean, I think people would rather get beat than probably get shot. It's so easy to get a gun over here and do something insane. I mean, you guys probably hear about it all the time. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting how seeing this police force and many of the other ones we have, or that we've seen, that don't have access to that same kind of gear, at least, you know, on a public scale anyway. Oh man, this is crazy to watch.
Right, we've got to the Volkspark Stadium. We were meant to film the HSV Ultras march from the station to the stadium, but the police basically wouldn't let us due to our cameras. I'm not quite sure why, but you can understand why. There is so much tension here. Well, that's something I've definitely never seen before. The press have to wear helmets. But another thing that's really notable is just how big HSV is when you're around this many fans. This is a proper powerhouse. Now, maybe in the second division now, but you really can feel just how much history there is. The amount of retro kits from all the way back in the 70s, those iconic pink ones, the amazing denim jackets they wear in Germany, stitched with patches that are over 50 years old. This really is a club dripping with history, support, and culture. And I feel like one of the most modern parts of that culture is this rivalry. It is this time. They only get one every decade, so now it means so much. You can feel it.
Jesus. I wonder what it's like to be a staff member at one of these.
Well, for a derby that affected a city like this for a week, actually since the beginning of the season, I think we can say that result's a bit of an anticlimax. But as we always say, it's about more than on the pitch, and no more so than in Hamburg. I'm going to be honest, Copa90's always wanted to do this derby. We didn't really care the division because we knew that the story behind it is so fascinating. There really isn't a rivalry with this kind of complex narrative. Rich versus poor, small versus big, ambition versus activism. It brings up and celebrates that narrative. What should a football club be about? What the answer is, I think it's personal, but whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, the two clubs of Hamburg define their city.
We know about these two clubs, Partizan versus Red Star. That's on the list for sure. Man, oh man, dude, it's so crazy to see how football, just the extremes it gets taken to in a lot of other countries. I mean, I doubt we'll ever see it on this scale here in the US. That's why it's definitely my goal to visit other clubs outside of this country one day down the line when I can afford to do so. That was another good video. But yeah, it's something seeing how much political weight can carry. This seems like such a weird rivalry too. It just seems kind of like you got this real rebellious faction in St. Pauli that really they just don't give a shit at all in many respectable ways, you know. But I wonder if that kind of translated negatively towards HSV. Now I don't really know enough about the club history. Based off of what I saw here, it seems like there's a bit of a mix of people that are just strictly here to watch football and enjoy the history of HSV versus a club that is willing to challenge any and everybody, no matter who they are. They're challenging their ideals, their beliefs, and I think that's honestly a necessary evil because it brings out a lot more character, I think, in some people. The parts of getting people sit in hospitals, beating them up over stuff, it's like, all right, like Eli said, where does the line draw, you know? Another excellent video from Copa90. I'm gonna keep this outro relatively short. I wanted to talk about, well, for one, this video is phenomenal. I can't wait to check out more Derby days from Copa90. I love these videos so much. To end this year off, 2025 was incredible. We grew this channel from 300 followers to almost 4,200 in the span of like 4 months, which is absolutely insane. I love all of the love and support that you guys have been giving me, all the comments, the stories, your views on football, your views on some of the things I've said in my journey of learning more about football and some of the games that I've traveled to and whatnot. Shout out to everybody that's joined over on the Patreon or become a YouTube member. Didn't really expect any of that to happen so quickly. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go into 2026 with a bunch of fresh ideas on how we want to approach both this channel, the Patreon, everything pretty much. I want to have a clear-cut decision on how I want to handle everything moving forward. So that includes more polls and stuff throughout the next few weeks, just a bunch of other ideas that I have. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this channel. Happy New Year's Eve or New Year's, depending on where you're from, guys. And as always, this has been Jay with another football reaction. I'll catch you next year. Have a great day. Peace.